2, 1. It's a one of a kind, only in the DTM. Yes, man, you did it. Thank you, guys. Go, 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 go. Yeah!
Hello and welcome from Zandvoort. We're here in the Netherlands and it's the 4th race weekend of the DTM season 2015. That means race 7 and race 8, and it's such a beautiful racetrack. If you ask me, one of the most beautiful racetracks in the calendar. It's embedded into the dunes and it's right across from the beach, and that of course means it's a big challenge as the wind blows the sand right across onto the racetrack, and yet the drivers love it here. But we're going to find out if the changing weather conditions here in Zandvoort are going to mix things up. So here are the highlights. Enjoy.
The highlights in the DTM season just keep on coming. The weekend in Zandvoort ushers in the series tour of Europe and brings the drivers to Circuit Park Zandvoort on the North Sea coast. The unique circuit set in the dunes promises an exciting weekend of action for the drivers and fans. Mercedes-Benz driver Robert Wickens repeated his success from last year and won Sunday's race at the Norris Ring. Certainly a candidate for victory in the Netherlands. Overtaking is all but impossible on the circuit winding through the dunes, but Saturday's winner at the Norris Ring, Pascal WEHRLEIN, arrives in Zandvoort with the momentum on his side. He's the best Mercedes driver, 3rd currently in the standings. He wants to make up ground on Jamie Green. Audi remain the mark to beat despite their weight handicap after 4 victories from 6 races. Last year's winner, Mattias EKSTROM, will be doing his utmost to ensure a repeat. Now, as for BMW, well, Bruno SPENGLER provided a small ray of light when he came 3rd at the Norris Ring. And a resurgent Augusto FARFUS is also determined to move up the order. Seasoned observers reckon it's worth keeping an eye on the DTM champion Marco Wittmann. And of course, the young gun Antonio Felix da Costa, as both could do well in Zandvoort. Well, the BMW drivers excelled in qualifying, and a time of 1:31.266 put Augusto FARFUS on pole position with Marco Wittmann alongside him. Then to row 2, and it's both BMWs, Antonio Felix da Costa and Maxime Martin, going from P3 and P4. Then we see Mercedes and Audi for the first time. P5 for Gary PAFFETT, Jamie Green is P6. Timo GLOCK and Tom BLOMQVIST continue the BMW domination with P7 and P8 on the grid for race 1. Then it's Bruno SPENGLER and Miguel MOLINA on the next row. Adrien TAMBAY from P11, Eduardo Mortara will run from P12. Then we see Mike ROCKENFELLER and Martin TOMCZYK. As the grid continues, it's Pascal WEHRLEIN, best Mercedes in the championship at the moment, with Nico Müller alongside him. Christian VIETORIS and Robert Wickens, P17 and 18. And a very disappointing qualifying for Mattias EKSTROM, down there, P19. And he has Lucas Auer from Mercedes alongside. Then it's Timo SCHEIDER and Paul de RESTA. And the last row of the grid goes the way of Danny Juncadella and Maximilian Gertz. The fans flock to the circuit in the dunes in pleasantly warm temperatures of around 20 degrees Celsius. So BMW is back, and so too is this man.
So here I am with Augusto FARFUS. Wow, what a fantastic qualifying. I think it's your 4th pole in your DTM career. Now, 2013 was absolutely superb. 2014, terrible. But this year, you're finally back. Is the good old Augusto back?
Yeah, well, it has been a track which I always liked so much. Last year we didn't find the right setup. This year, since yesterday, we were really among the fastest ones. So it's good to be on pole. It's good to be back. It's good to show that Augusto is always around. Now it's just a matter to get a clean start and push until the end.
Augusto is always around. Second spot on the grid went the way of our current champion, Marco Wittmann. He will be sure to attack when it comes to turn 1. Marco Wittmann. Good qualifying from Antonio Felix da Costa as well, looking for his first triumph in his DTM career. P3 on the grid for Antonio Felix da Costa. And just behind him is the Belgian, Maxime Martin. The Moscow race winner for last year will be going from P4. An outstanding performance for BMW. Here's Jens Marquardt.
So you certainly had a pretty difficult start into the season, but then finally the first podium at the Nürburgring, and now fantastic. I mean, you've got the first 4 BMWs, or the first 4 are BMWs, and top 7 in the top 10. So I'm getting a little confused. It's too hot, I think. But that is absolutely amazing. So qualifying, looking at that, what do you think? What can you do from here? Podium at least.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a very good starting position for us now. Going to be 40 tough minutes here. It's a demanding track. It's tough to the tires. And on one set of tires, you really have to manage well. But starting with 4 cars in the front 2 rows is obviously a good starting point. But yeah, we have to make everything happen now, and good setting for that. And I'm sure everybody's pushing hard.
Now, I know BMW loves the quick corners, but what do you think is a secret here? How come you're so strong in the qualifying?
Difficult to say. Somehow it just worked today, and yeah, I mean, we've always been strong here in Zandvoort, and hopefully we can capitalize later on as well in the race where it counts. Qualifying was super. Now we need to deliver in the race.
The first of the non-BMW drivers is Gary Paffett in P5. The Mercedes stalwart and 2005 champion last won in Zandvoort 5 years ago. What will be the Mercedes strategy today is Uli Fritz.
At the Nürburgring, it went so well for Mercedes-Benz, so you probably came here somewhat shining, all happy. However, qualifying, I'm pretty sure, didn't go as well as you might have planned it. I mean, best position is Paffett in P5. That's really good, but the next best Mercedes is P15. So where are you going to go from there?
Yeah, I think it was definitely bad luck a little bit. Gary made the best out of it. I think he showed that the car could be quick here. We had some really bad luck with traffic and whatever. Paul went off the track, so it was difficult qualifying for us. Yeah, and it's just now all about damage limitation and trying to get the most out of it during the race.
So from Mercedes-Benz, we turn our attention to Audi and the championship leader, Jamie Green. He only took 6 points at the Nürburgring, but he is the best Audi driver today in P6. Let's hear from Dieter Gas.
Now, obviously, the start of the season went so smoothly for Audi, but now here the fastest Audi in P6 is Jamie Green, and then I believe in P10 to P13. Probably not quite what you expected. What were you struggling with?
Well, it's not completely unexpected either. We're still carrying the weight penalty that we had from the first races. The BMWs are very light. So I think if you look at the situation, weight compensated, everything is very, very close. Really, all the 3 manufacturers are very close together. If you look at the quickest car from every manufacturer, and at the end of the day, that's what we want to see. So we're looking forward to the race. We think we should be quite consistent on the tires. So we try to keep the gap small, and then we're going to attack to the end, I hope.
So here are the cars gridding up.
Yeah, we're still at the market in your spot. Slow. Stop. Perfect.
Augusto FARFUS guided into his grid box. There is the Audi garage. Also BMW. And the tension rising in the Mercedes-Benz garage as well. Let's get to the start of race 1 here at Zandvoort. We have 5 red lights. When the lights are out, we are racing. It's FARFUS versus Wittmann, and I think Wittmann got a slightly better start there. And Antonio Felix da Costa is muscling his way in as well. Gary Paffett tries the outside line. It isn't quite going to work. So Augusto Farfus still in battles with Gary Paffett. As we look further down the grid, we can see Paul di Resta into the barriers. Let's see that again in replay. Paul di Resta ends up in the barriers. Extensive damage to the front of the Mercedes-Benz. He runs seemingly into the back of Robert Wickens. Daniel Juncadella was in there as well, and Paul di Resta is out right at the very start. That was the contact on Robert Wickens. Daniel Juncadella managing to avoid. Paul di Resta ending up in the tyre barrier. So with debris to be cleared up, that brings out a safety car. Let's get a replay of the start here, and Antonio Felix da Costa was the really, really impressive driver who muscled his way into P2 there. Marco Wittmann getting a slightly better start than Augusto Farfus, and once that gap was opened up, Antonio Felix da Costa was going to buy into it with a bit of muscle as well. Gary Paffett trying valiantly to go around the outside, but it wasn't going to happen for him. Let's see it on board from Antonio Felix da Costa, and Augusto Farfus tries to protect that inside line, but wasn't able to do so. And once Marco Wittmann had opened up that gap, Antonio Felix da Costa was going to get into it as well. So the safety car comes in after 5 laps. Race order: Wittmann, Felix da Costa, Martin, Farfus, Paffett, Green, Spengler, BLOMQVIST, Glock and ROCKENFELLER. As they cross the timing line, 4 BMWs before we get back to a Mercedes-Benz. Are on board with Antonio Felix da Costa, who's not quite close enough to Marco Wittmann to have a go through the Tarzan Bock turn. Right behind Gary Paffett is the Audi of Jamie Green. And then it's the BMW car of Bruno Spengler, then Tom BLOMQVIST as well. And Eduardo Mortara makes an unscheduled stop. TOMCZYK is also very slow after the restart and comes into the pits with a technical problem. A lot of smoke coming out of the front of the Martin TOMCZYK car, so his race is over. Let's find out what has happened to him.
Martin, what happened that it's game over for you?
Actually, I don't know. I just drove in the safety car, and while the safety car period, I just saw white smoke in front of my car, and it got more and more. Whenever I touched the brakes, I had no real bite, and the smoke got more and more. So they don't know really at the moment. They checked the car, but it was impossible to carry on, so I had to retire. It's a shame because the first lap was good, quite good. I was already on 11th place, so made up 4 places. So yeah, we will see, but I keep my fingers crossed now for my mates outside.
So it's not total domination from BMW as Martin TOMCZYK is out, and so too early on is Eduardo Mortara. Let's get back out on track. There's our leader. There is P2. P3 is Maxime Martin. Then it's Augusto Farfus and Gary Paffett. Let's catch up now with Eduardo Mortara.
Edo, what exactly happened? I mean, you guys tried to fix the car twice, but it didn't work. What happened?
Coming into the first corner, I got hit by from behind by somebody. Whether it's my teammate ROCKENFELLER or TOMCZYK, I don't know, but that actually caused us a puncture. And we had also some parts that were a little bit damaged, so we had to retire of the race.
So disappointed Eduardo Mortara. Now just keep an eye on Gary Paffett on P5. He is lining up Augusto Farfus. Now is he close enough to be able to do anything? Just takes a sneaky look up the inside, but Gary not close enough to be able to get past the Augusto Farfus car. There's our leader, Marco Wittmann. P2 is Antonio Felix da Costa, P3 Martin. Then we get to that battle between Augusto Farfus and Gary Paffett. So lap 13 and the Audi man, Miguel Molina, retires. The Spaniard picked up damage and are coming together right at the very start, as we can see from our heli shot there. Let's hear from him now.
Miguel, I guess you were kind of part in this incident with Mike and with Edo, but what exactly happened that it's game over for you as well?
Yeah, that it was a bit, let's say, in the first corner when everything starts. I tried to be careful because you know, in the first lap you can lose more than win, and actually I was involved in this sandwich, but at the end we had some damage in the car, and in this in this kind of tracks that you need quite a lot of downforce, it was better to stop for safety reasons. That was all. Tomorrow we have another chance, so we will fight back.
It's lap 16. Wittmann and Da Costa are P1 and P2. Whatever Antonio Felix da Costa tries to do, he cannot pass the German, but he keeps the pressure on and attempts to force an error. But at the moment, that error isn't coming. Robert Wickens retires on the same lap. So disappointment in Zandvoort for the man that did so well at the Norris Ring. And Jamie Green is struggling as well. A driver error in turn 9 sees him off the track and in the gravel. So Jamie Green then, a disappointment for him. Let's try and get a replay of exactly how that occurred. So there he is, just carrying too much speed. And one wheel onto the grass, and once on the grass, he's always turning around and going into the gravel. So the end of the race for Jamie Green. You see it from on board here, where he just runs a little bit too wide, tries to control it with opposite lock at that point, reversing onto the gravel. So Jamie Green, another one out of this race here at Zandvoort. Antonio Felix da Costa now raising the stakes against Marco Wittmann, and Marco Wittmann and Antonio Felix da Costa, a lot of radio traffic going on between the two of them, and Antonio shouldn't be applying pressure according to Marco Wittmann. Well, that's Antonio Felix da Costa's team radio response, which, sorry, couldn't make head nor tail of that. And Antonio Felix da Costa is certainly keeping the pressure up on Marco Wittmann. Let's hear some more from the team radio traffic now. Well, it's no clearer. It is just pressure related, though. Marco Wittmann feeling that the pressure shouldn't be placed upon him. There's pressure on Augusto FARFUS as well, as Gary Paffett now really trying his hardest to wrestle that P4 away from Augusto FARFUS. There's a slight touch between them, and that sends Gary Paffett out into the gravel. Now, if he can keep the momentum on, he keeps it out of the barriers, keeps the speed there, he will rejoin on the track, but it's going to be down the order in P11 for Gary Paffett, who ends up just ahead of Christian VIETORIS. So Gary Paffett then with a valiant effort to try and get past Augusto FARFUS. There was the slight touch, and that's just enough to send him off into the gravel, whereas he did manage to keep the momentum, and his pit crew very, very disappointed as Gary goes from P5 down to P11. So it is the last lap, which means the last lap of pressure perhaps for Marco Wittmann from this man, Antonio Felix da Costa, who we were on board with briefly there, as they make their way around this Zandvoort circuit, which is difficult to overtake on, and Antonio Felix da Costa has certainly been trying every way possible, but Marco Wittmann, to be fair to him, has made no mistakes whatsoever. And Daniel Juncadella, another Mercedes driver, out onto the gravel, just gets out of shape, but is able to rejoin again as we go back on board with Antonio Felix da Costa chasing the race leader, Marco Wittmann, all the way around this circuit at Zandvoort. The margin between them has been negligible over the last few laps, as Antonio Felix da Costa really has ramped up that pressure on Marco Wittmann. But at the moment, it's all been futile because he's not been able to pressure a mistake from Marco Wittmann. Continues to give it absolutely everything he can. Through the chicane, and right onto the back of the BMW of Marco Wittmann, but he looks like he is home and dry now. And the champion and BMW are back here at the Circuit Park Zandvoort as Marco Wittmann will head towards the checkered flag to take the win.
Thank you guys, good job.
Wittmann wins race 1 at Zandvoort ahead of Da Costa, Martin, Farfus, Spengler, Glock and BLOMQVIST. It means the DTM champion followed home by no fewer than 6 BMW drivers in a row. That must please Jens Marquardt.
What can you possibly say? I mean, that is just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, we definitely had a tough time in the first 2 races. We fought strongly back in Norris Ring. And now here with a magnificent race, P1 through 7 for BMW. I honestly don't know what to say. I mean,
Almost a little speechless. Yep. But now, of course, the pressure is on that you repeat this tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this is really unique. This you cannot repeat. And, well, we all know that obviously the weight has helped here, but I think we've also seen that the guys really fought well. And even the most talented drivers sometimes run out of talent. So I think we've really done well, and I'm proud of the guys. And, yeah, amazing day today.
Audi duo Mike Rockenfeller and Nico Müller finished P8 and P9. Pascal WEHRLEIN is P10, the best Mercedes man. Here's Maxime Martin.
Maxime, what a fantastic job you did. You pushed so hard then. You were fighting really hard. Up on the podium, 3rd place. Are you pretty happy about that?
Yeah, it's just amazing. To be back on the podium is always nice. And yeah, 1, 2, 3 BMW, even 4, and I don't know the rest. So it's really good for BMW. Top 7, that's fantastic. That's amazing. So really happy, really happy.
So Maxime Martin is happy. So too is this man, Marco Wittmann. Mega Marco is back. Also happy, I'm sure, is Antonio Felix da Costa.
Antonio, what a fantastic job. I mean, you were fighting so very hard, but between you and I, we kind of had the feeling you could have overtaken.
I don't know. No, I'm just happy with this. I think today it had to be a safe race for us, for BMW. We needed the points, and I'm just happy to be part of this podium lockout. I think the 3 of us were very quick. I had the help of the DRS. I think that's why I could stay close to Marco. But anyway, I think very exciting start, exciting first lap, and I'm just happy to be back here.
Jamie Green is still leading the Drivers' Championship after race 1 at Zandvoort, but the winner in race 1 for BMW, it's Marco Wittmann.
Is it good to be back?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first 3 weekends were so difficult for us, and to be now finally back on the top spot, it's really great. I mean, this qualifying was already good with P2, and it looks like P2 in Zandvoort works out for me. Last year I was after corner 1, P1. Now again took the lead. So yeah, great race. Even if I had some pressure from behind from Antonio Felix da Costa, he did a good job. But at the end, it's a great result for BMW overall. After a difficult start into the season, to have such a race today was really great and a good motivation for all, for the team, for everybody.
Here's the grid for race 2 at Zandvoort, race 8 in the championship overall. It's another BMW lockout. Antonio Felix da Costa and Bruno SPENGLER at the head of the field. Then we see Augusto FARFUS from P3 and yesterday's winner, Marco Wittmann from P4. Miguel MOLINA is the best Audi P5 and the best Mercedes is Pascal WEHRLEIN in P6. Then we see Timo GLOCK and Daniel JUNCADELLA. On the next row of the grid, it's Gary PAFFETT and Christian VIETORIS, 2 Mercedes together. Maxime Martin goes from P11, Eduardo Mortara P12. Then we see Martin TOMCZYK. He'll hope for better luck today than yesterday, and Maximilian Gertz. His best qualifying to date, P14. Then it's Robert WICKENS and Mattias EKSTROM. Adrien TAMBAY and the championship leader, Jamie Green, down in P18. Together again, Mike Rockenfeller and Nico Müller, further down the order than they would both choose to be. Then it's Tom BLOMQVIST and Timo SCHEIDER. Then we see the Mercedes-Benz of Paul di Resta and Lucas Auer. And a huge crowd on Sunday here in the Dunes, some more lively than others, as you can see. Yesterday, it was a DTM career best for this man. Can he better it today?
And now it was your best result yesterday, 2nd place, and today you're the pole setter. Absolutely fantastic. However, yesterday you were the hunter, and today you're the hunted. Are you a little bit nervous about that?
No, not nervous. I mean, the start is always one of the most heated moments of the race, so just try and get a clean one and see what happens after turn 1 and manage the race from there. Hopefully we can stay in front and then just relax and take care of the tires and go forwards.
Bruno SPENGLER starts Sunday's race from P2. Former champion in the BMW Bank M4, Augusto FARFUS. P3, the new livery for 2015 for Augusto FARFUS. And then we see Marco Wittmann right behind him. Both of those BMW drivers from P3 and P4 going to fancy their chances today. Miguel MOLINA is the best Audi driver, and he goes from P5. Of course, today's race longer than yesterday's. Is that going to help Audi? What will be their strategy today? Dieter Gas will tell us all.
Well, Audi is having a tough time at the moment. The story seems to continue today. And what it also seems is that talented drivers still can't really make up for the weight disadvantage. Do you have a good strategy for today?
We hope so, yes, but I don't think you can blame everything on the weight. The BMW is very strong here. We're trying to fight, but it's definitely going to be complicated today.
The best Mercedes-Benz is Pascal WEHRLEIN from P6. The head of Mercedes-Benz DTM is Uli Fritz.
I'm here with Ulrich Fritz. Now, yesterday in the qualifying, you had a bit of problems with Paul di Resta yesterday. And today in the qualifying, you were struggling again a little bit. So what are you hoping for today, for the race?
Yeah, I would say we showed the true performance of the car today in qualifying. I think it was incredibly tough and quite small gaps between the first and the last cars as well. So yeah, I think maybe there is a possibility via strategy. Yeah, we'll see. Overtaking is incredibly tough here. That's what we saw yesterday. Yeah, then we need to make the best out of it and gain as many positions as we can.
And are you kind of hoping for rain? I mean, the weather conditions here are unpredictable. Do you think that might help you if it rains? Who knows?
Yeah, I think in the end it will be then a kind of a gambling. Nobody knows who it helps and whom not. So yeah, we'll see.
Zandvoort in the Netherlands, the second race of the DTM weekend, as the drivers take their positions on the grid in overcast conditions. The BMW garage, that of Audi as well,
on the grid now.
and Mercedes-Benz also. As the lights go out and we are away and racing, a brilliant start from Antonio Felix da Costa, less of a good start from Bruno Spengler. Augusto FARFUS seems to have got it all together. Timo GLOCK in the all-yellow BMW trying to dive down the inside as well. And Augusto FARFUS squeezed out there, and Bruno Spengler will take up that P2 position. It's Antonio Felix da Costa from Bruno Spengler, then it's Augusto FARFUS, and then it's Marco Wittmann. We're on board now as they go three abreast. Gary PAFFETT involved in that mix, always charging right from the very start of the race. We go on board with Timo GLOCK, who has Daniel JUNCADELLA ahead of him. So the car's screaming through here for the slightly longer race in race 2 with a mandatory pit stop as well. And there you can see how superior the start from Antonio Felix da Costa was. And it was a real drag race between Bruno Spengler and Augusto FARFUS, and all behind. They're jostling for positions. Thankfully, no one out and into the gravel from the Tarzan turn as yesterday. Paul di Resta ended up there. Hans-Jürgen Abt has his eyes covered by his hands as we go on board with Pascal WEHRLEIN, Timo GLOCK to his right, Daniel JUNCADELLA to the left, and Miguel MOLINA on the inside there. As we switch to another cam, and my goodness, it's tight in the mid-order. Timo GLOCK then really wrestling. As you can see, 2 cameras on board with Timo GLOCK. Pascal WEHRLEIN to his very left, Daniel JUNCADELLA just ahead. So, 1 lap completed here at Zandvoort in race 2 of the weekend. Antonio Felix da Costa, Team Radio. So, as we're on to lap 2 now, as out goes Maxime Martin. Just a little shove from Adrien TAMBAY, which saw Maxime Martin out. He had such a good day yesterday, gonna make it really, really difficult for the Belgian to come back from that particular position. So Maxime Martin pushed out by Adrien TAMBAY. And let's see it again in replay. So there up the inside, he begins to get hustled, but this is where the contact is, and you can see just gets a little bit sideways, and one of the fins comes off the TAMBAY car, but it's Martin that ends up in the gravel and losing a whole bunch of places in that little skirmish. So lap 6, and it's still tight at the top. As into turn 1 they go. Race being led by Antonio Felix da Costa. Then it is Bruno Spengler, Augusto Farfus, Marco Wittmann. Before we get back to another brand, which is Audi, there is Gary Paffett in the Mercedes-Benz. Following Pascal WEHRLEIN, a battle between Lucas Auer and the returning from the gravel Maxime Martin. Sparks flying from the Lucas Auer Mercedes-Benz as he tries desperately to keep the car on the tarmac. And he does so very well, so big battle right at the back. And that battle continues. This time, Maxime Martin does make it count and goes through on Lucas Auer to move up a position. The Maxime Martin fight back doesn't keep everyone in thrall, that's for sure. First of the pit stops, in comes Timo GLOCK, Team Radio.
Okay, mate, you have to push now. Push. You've got a gap. We need to try and jump JUNCADELLA, so push.
So Timo GLOCK being told to push, so too will Jamie Green. His pit stop done and dusted, and the early stoppers, what they've been able to do is get out with no traffic around them. Race leader, P2, P3, 4, 5 and 6 all go through. So will the early stoppers have the advantage towards the end of the race? Superb tyre cam that we can bring you here. Every inch of the tarmac being used. And looking back now. In comes Bruno Spengler. In comes Marco Wittmann. Molina, JUNCADELLA.
Copy pit, Bruno. Be careful, pit lane is busy, be careful.
Pit lane is more than busy, as you can see them all. And the crews stacking up to get to work on Bruno Spengler's car.
Pit stop light 1, Bruno, pit stop light 1. Racing other car. Out of the pit, racing other car.
It's busy out of the pits. The big winner here is Timo GLOCK. Is he going to be able to get past Bruno Spengler as well? No, he has to filter in behind Bruno Spengler. But the strategy of early stops works. There's Bruno Spengler, there's Marco Wittmann. And it was Wittmann and Molina absolutely together. And Wittmann wasn't going to allow a centimetre, let alone an inch. And bodywork off the Marco Wittmann car. It was just as tight behind with Eduardo Mortara and Pascal WEHRLEIN and Daniel JUNCADELLA. We can see it again from this shot. In the meantime, in comes Antonio Felix da Costa and Augusto Farfus. So the fight's going to be on between these two and Bruno Spengler. We throw the graphics up on the right-hand side of your screen. So Antonio Felix da Costa fighting Bruno Spengler. You can see where Spengler is now coming around the final turn here.
Racing other car out of the pit, Bruno racing da Costa and Farfus out of the pit.
So here comes Bruno Spengler. It looks like Antonio Felix da Costa has got it all under control, and so too Augusto Farfus. Maxime Martin. Now, the thing is, Lucas Auer, who you can see there in the pink Mercedes-Benz, he's not stopped yet, and he's right in this gaggle. And this could prove crucial. So Lucas Auer slightly holding them up. Marco Wittmann gets a shove from Molina. Martin TOMCZYK tries to take advantage of that. There you can see Marco Wittmann having to use opposite lock to control that car. Martin TOMCZYK trying to go through on the inside, has to yield and think better of it, but eventually he gets alongside Molina, but again has to yield. So the real cork in the bottle here is Lucas Auer, who is yet to stop. So the pink Mercedes proving to be a nightmare for Marco Wittmann, who spots a gap and goes for it. There's contact. Auer goes spinning off onto the gravel. And now Wittmann is going to have to defend from Miguel Molina and Martin TOMCZYK. There's bodywork flying everywhere.
Everything okay? Concentrate.
Concentrate. I should think so. They're side by side. You've got Pascal WEHRLEIN, Christian VIETORIS and Martin TOMCZYK, the big loser there.
Car is still in one piece. Everything is good.
The car is still in one piece. Everything is good. Robert Wickens tries to join in the action with Eduardo Mortara too. Martin Tomczyk perhaps with issues, couldn't quite understand that radio message. There is Marco Wittmann. There's Molina. And Tomczyk has got real problems. How did nobody collect that slowing Martin Tomczyk car? It virtually ground to a halt on the start-finish straight. What a torrid weekend for Martin Tomczyk. You can see the whole front end of the car, and the bonnet is just about detached from the rest of the car. All brought about by that contact that we saw earlier. So that was the Wittmann and our incident. So where does Martin Tomczyk collect his damage? I would suspect it's there on Molina, yes. You can see the bodywork going everywhere. But to be fair, he got a fair heave from the back as well, didn't he? So what that means is it's a nightmare weekend for Martin Tomczyk. Now this is where the car virtually stopped. Edo Mortara, Robert Wickens, Gary Paffett and Mattias EKSTROM all having to take evasive action to avoid the stricken BMW. Here's Adrien TAMBAY and Robert Wickens getting very, very close together. Eduardo Mortara in the mix as well. Little bits of bodywork flying everywhere and dust being kicked up as well as Edo Mortara's car ran out onto the grassed area. Now, Martin Tomczyk, the big loser as his BMW takes no further part. Let's try and catch up with him now.
Martin, now you were doing pretty well, you know, pushing really hard, overtaking, and I think quite a few spaces you picked up there. But then all of a sudden, after your first pit stop, a lot of bad luck.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 5 places in the first 3 corners is not that bad. I was right behind Timo GLOCK, and he's actually on the 4th position, so it's even more shame that I had to retire. But after the pit stop, there was quite a mess out there because Lucas Auer, he holds quite a lot of cars down. In lap time, he was approximately 1.5 seconds slower. And when you try to overtake and 5 cars come together, I got a push from the back, I got on Molina, and then my bonnet got loose and I lost it on the straight. Fortunately, nothing more happened on the straight because it was pretty tight, I saw on television. So, but actually, it's a shame because you drive actually your ass off out there and you don't get any result. Nevertheless, for BMW, it does not look that bad. So I keep my fingers crossed for them.
So as we return to the action and Gary Paffett passes Jamie Green, both of them are currently out of the points. So the two Brits together there, Gary Paffett in his Mercedes-Benz and Jamie Green in his Audi, and this is how Gary did it. The Robert Wickens Mercedes-Benz ahead of Gary Paffett. And we can see it from on board the Robert Wickens car then. And now it's Danny Juncadella who's out. As team radio tells Pascal WEHRLEIN he's P7, Danny Juncadella is P nowhere because he's stuck out on the grass. How did it happen? So he's with Eduardo Mortara here. There's a touch between the two of them and Danny Juncadella goes flying across the grass. And his car ends up resting on the side of the track. That was a high-flying move from Danny Juncadella, as you can see. Just a touch between himself and the Audi of Eduardo Mortara, and that means that Danny Juncadella is out. We can see now from the tyre cam the actual impact between the two. Now, it doesn't look that great, but bear in mind the huge speed they're carrying and the great sophistication of these cars. Just a little nerf like that, and Danny Juncadella did well to control it and hold on to it. Clearly, it damaged the Eduardo Mortara car as well because Eduardo Mortara is out also. Car being looked at by the team, but the driver is out of it and it's now going to be put into the garage. So, Eduardo Mortara out. And Danny Juncadella does manage to get it going from where it was put on the grass. But that too is going to be confirmed retirement then for the Danny Juncadella car. As back into the garage it goes. So let's hear from one of the parties in that, Eduardo Mortara.
Edo, you had really bad luck yesterday, couldn't complete the race, and today, same story again, this time with WICKENS. What exactly happened?
I mean, it was with JUNCADELLA. I mean, yesterday, okay, maybe bad luck, but today was a contact, and yeah, I mean, I had a few race moments, race contacts, and that was a little bit unfortunate with Daniel. I mean, we went side by side in a pretty fast part, and I tried as much as I can to avoid him, and unfortunately we had a very light contact, and he had to cross the grass, and my tire was again, I had again a puncture. So.
What exactly happened in the incident that you went flying?
Well, I didn't really see because I was fighting with some of the guys in the previous corner in turn 3, and then as soon as we got to the fast section, I saw Mortara was behind me, and I tried to give him some space, but he just touched me and drove me away off the track, and yeah, not much I can do.
Big battle going on here between Miguel Molina and Pascal WEHRLEIN. Pascal WEHRLEIN up the inside of the Tarzan. And a bit of muscling between the two of them. And not only does Pascal WEHRLEIN go through, but so too does Christian VIETORIS. Miguel Molina out onto the gravel. And we can see it here from a different angle. The two of them really getting together there. And Christian VIETORIS a beneficiary of that as well. On board with Pascal WEHRLEIN, a big lock-up from Miguel Molina. That's what sent him wide. And then as Pascal WEHRLEIN really fights with the steering to try and make that move happen, Christian VIETORIS a beneficiary too. We stay on board with Pascal WEHRLEIN for the next few corners, then in replay before out in a cloud of tyre smoke is Robert WICKENS. Floors it to get it back out on track, but Robert WICKENS out onto the gravel. How did that happen? Well, the replay will reveal all. So a bold move from Tom BLOMQVIST into the side of Robert WICKENS, and there was absolutely nothing Robert could do about that, and Tom BLOMQVIST is handed a drive-through penalty for that really rather bold move up the inside of Robert WICKENS. You can see the disappointment in the garage, and that was Robert WICKENS spinning the car in a fit of frustration to get it back out on track. To the race leader, Antonio Felix da Costa, with Augusto FARFUS, then it's Bruno SPENGLER and Timo GLOCK. See there from the helicam, and the BMW engineers inside the garage watch on as we see retirement now from Nico Müller. So Nico Müller climbs out of the car, and this is how it happened. Maximilian Goertz and Nico Müller together there, and looks like a shove from the Maximilian Goertz car. And Nico Müller then with damage to that and is retired. Just before the last lap, and rain comes sweeping in over the dunes. Pascal WEHRLEIN in 6th place comes under great pressure now from Mattias EKSTROM. So Pascal WEHRLEIN in the Mercedes-Benz and Mattias EKSTROM in the Audi P6 and P7, as you can see on screen. Through the chicane they go. And Mattias EKSTROM has got Christian VIETORIS for company right behind him as well, so he's stuck right in the middle of that Mercedes sandwich at the moment.
6 more laps, 6 more laps.
Spengler being told 6 more laps. So right at the end of this race, the weather might play a part in it.
Okay, Pascal, if you can control it, but be careful.
So Pascal WEHRLEIN obviously radioing in that he has a problem with his car right at the very end of this race.
If you fight back and overtake someone, there's always the possibility that you crash and you damage your car, and that's what happened today with Molina. My car was in a bad shape at the end, and you know, with good starts this year, I could already lead the championship.
I think it was the best possible results with taking limited risk. So I was trying to play it a bit safe, maybe too safe. I am not to judge it now, but it was also still some valuable points for the title.
Last lap, the rain on the lens of our camera there. And the foursome from BMW, da Costa, FARFUS, Spengler and GLOCK form the leading group, with Wittmann a little further back. P6, Pascal WEHRLEIN. 7, EKSTROM. 8, VIETORIS. Then we see TAMBAY, PAFFETT, and Mike ROCKENFELLER. But Antonio Felix da Costa, as the rain still just coming down in a light drizzle form, which hasn't really affected the very end of this race, which is good because it would be a great shame. He leads Augusto FARFUS, Bruno SPENGLER, and Timo GLOCK in this four-strong set of BMWs then, with just a few more turns to do before they head towards the checkered flag for race 2 here at Zandvoort. The cars absolutely sounding superb through the chicane around the back of the paddock area here at Zandvoort. Just see Marco Wittmann into the back of that shot with just one more turn to do. And there it is. Antonio Felix da Costa will win at Zandvoort.
Woo! Awesome job, Antonio. Well done, dude. Well done.
So that is the team radio from the pit wall. Let's hear the team radio from the driver now.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, what a day. What a day. Danke, BMP. Danke. Ich liebe BMP.
So Antonio Felix da Costa very happy indeed, as I'm sure is Jens Marquardt from BMW.
After yesterday, who thought that you could do so well again, even though it's got to be said, instead of top 7 at the moment, you only have top, 5. But you can not be disappointed, obviously. It's absolutely amazing. How thrilled are you?
Well, I'm really excited. I mean, this was a tougher race today, obviously, with a pit stop and everything. But again, fantastic qualifying and then a super race result. Guys did really everything absolutely perfect. Was tough for Antonio out there with 4 guys behind him pushing. But yeah, he had a super quick car even without DRS, because obviously if you're leading, you're not having it. And I'm really proud of the whole team. They really did a great weekend here.
BMW with every reason to celebrate, and Antonio Felix da Costa's superb drive on Sunday ensured it was a perfect weekend. Let's hear from Bruno SPENGLER now, P3.
Bruno, you were fighting really hard. Happy with your 3rd place?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, the start was not perfect. I did not get a good launch out of the first row, but anyway, I managed to stay 2nd, and then after in the race I was behind Felix, and maybe a little bit quicker but difficult to overtake, and then we were a little bit unlucky in the pit stop because we had to wait before releasing me because of risk of unsafe release, but the guys did actually a great pit stop, but we just had to wait a bit to not risk the unsafe release. So I lost the position because of that, but anyway, 1, 2 and 3 for BMW today is really great, and I'm happy to be on the podium, and it's good points.
Antonio Felix da Costa will remember this for a long time then, as he throws his trophy aloft with joy. P1, let's hear from P2 now, Augusto FARFUS.
Congratulations to a well-deserved 2nd place, but you were breathing down Antonio's neck. Was there nothing you could do? You were trying so hard, pushing so hard.
Yeah, we had, I think, maybe a slightly faster car today. But here it's difficult to overtake without taking any risk. I mean, Antonio drove an excellent race. I think I had a little bit more on the pocket, to be honest. But here with the downforce, it's just difficult to try a safe maneuver. And we were doing brilliant this weekend, so there was no need to take any risk for a victory. I think BMW did again an awesome race. So I'm pleased to be back on podium to show some speed again. So now we keep focused forward.
The title contenders have bunched up at the top of the standings following the race meeting here in Zandvoort. Let's hear from our race winner now, though, Antonio Felix da Costa.
Antonio, congratulations. Yesterday was your best result, 2nd place, but now you topped it. 1st victory, and actually the 1st victory of a Portuguese ever in the DTM. So could you be any happier?
No, not really. I mean, it's a dream weekend. I mean, we had a very good day yesterday with the 2nd place, just there about to win the race. And today our mindset, everybody really wanted this hard, and we proved it. You know, we did it when it mattered in qualifying, get that track position, which is very important. And then tire management was key today. I was really trying to taking it easy during the whole race, and only push whenever I needed to, you know, to make sure that nobody would dive on my inside. And what a day. Thank you, BMW, Red Bull. Perfect combination. Thank you.
Congratulations, and now I guess you're going to take the wings to Spielberg in 3 weeks. So until then, see you then. Bye.